All right, and I believe we are live. So, for those of you that have just joined, as I mentioned before, normally we do these things as kind of Zoom webinars, but today we're doing it as just a Zoom meeting. It's going to be more interactive than normal. It's not our normal content. This is we're going to be talking about background agents. We're going to be talking about things that we're learning, and we don't claim to be the experts here. So
We don't
we
know what
know,
we're doing.
yeah, we know some things. We're figuring things out, but I imagine you all are as well. And so we kind of looked at this as like a joint, like a discussion, a learning less, we'll share lessons learned. We'll talk about what's working for us, but hopefully you all can share and we'll save some time at the end too. If you want to, have 30 seconds to a minute, if you have tips or tricks you want to share outside of just chat, you can unmute and we'll chat with each other. So we got a pretty good crowd today. Just as a heads up, we are live streaming this. If you want to be on camera, you can be, but you don't have to be. So you can turn your camera off and please do stay muted unless you are called on, but we'll do some cool things today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start by sharing my screen. All right. So hopefully you can all see that. It, if I make this big, can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the second slide.
hmm
All right. Sometimes for some reason Zoom when I go full screen doesn't work, but it's working today. All right. So we're going to share knowledge, as I said, on things that we've been using in internally here at Mastra, things that are working for us, things that we're experimenting with and maybe not using yet, but considering using all around like how the engineering team is leveraging background agents. So we're going to talk about what are background agents, what do we consider background agents? It's maybe up in the air the actual definition, but how do we leverage it to speed up our development workflows? We'll demo and try to build something kind of cool. It's probably pretty simple, but we will maybe compare a few different ways to do background agents and see how they compare, how they stack up, which will be kind of a fun experiment. And then we'll have plenty of time at the end for discussion and Q&A. So just quick who we are. I'm here with Abi. He's one of the co-founders of Mastra. He was at Gatsby and Netlify as a principal engineer. He's never seen snowfall, and he would like to get Mastra to 16,000 stars. That's his current goal in life. I was also an eng and in product at Gatsby and Netlify. I'm one of the founders of Mastra as well. Did a bunch of stuff with open source and a few other things as well. So feel free to connect with us. But to get right into it, why background agents? So what all this kind of started, right, with like Copilot came out and then you had these agentic IDEs, and then eventually, it might have kind of transitioned towards like Devin as like a fully autonomous agent, which was kind of really had a lot of hype at the beginning and then maybe faded and then maybe picked back up. But it's all kind of started from this like simple autocomplete all the way to like you have now these potentially autonomous people that are help or agents that are helping you write code. And the whole idea is like faster and less manual dev loops. You can cut down like boilerplate time, shorten your review cycles, really just speed up productivity. That's the goal, at least. So let's talk about some of there's probably more than this, but we'll talk about the key players. Cursor has their idea of background agents, OpenAI Codex, Google Jules, which I haven't used, so if anyone's used that, please share. Devin, and then Claude Code, kind of, because I count it in this category, but it's kind of a little bit different. There are other tools that we can also talk about that are kind of tied to background agents. Linear has agents, which just kind of connects to your favorite agents in Linear, so you can assign them tasks, which is a pretty cool thing. Code review agents, we use Greptile at Mastra, but there's a bunch of them, and we've had quite a bit of luck with just like getting that first review cycle time down and allowing the, you know, allowing almost like a second set of eyes without having to wait for an engineer on the team to provide that first pass. And then we've been experimenting with some test writing agents that just are really designed to help us write tests and making sure we keep up with our test coverage. Uh, I've used this before, but I really think you kind of got to look at background agents like smart, eager interns because they have more knowledge than any intern would ever have, right? I mean, it's like an intern with the internet, but at, much faster speed. but you still can't fully trust them. You have to make sure that you're monitoring the work, you're giving them tasks that are scoped, that, and you know what you're getting yourself into. And so here's some tips and tricks that we've learned, and then Abby, feel free to jump in if you have any that are not on this list. But things that we've found is if you want code that you can actually merge, where it's like you're actually going to use this code, it's probably going to work best for tasks that you would already know how to do because you can be more specific in how you would implement it. So if you already know that you would do this thing in a certain way, you can write a prompt that kind of documents out the steps, and you can know that it's going to more likely follow those steps, and you've given enough guidance to probably get something that's closer to mergeable. If you have a more obscure task and you do not know how you would go about implementing it, you should kind of treat the code generated as a prototype, meaning you might just throw that prototype away. So that's not something that we've learned is you shouldn't just trust that you're going to be able to, it's not necessarily usable code, but it might be code you could learn from. And so that's what's kind of interesting about it. Someone I haven't done this a lot with Claude Code, but someone on our team has been really talking about using Git work trees for Claude Code. So a Git work tree will allow you to basically check out a branch in a different directory, and then you can run Claude different tasks in different branches, and you can kind of PR from there. So you can kind of use Claude Code as a background agent in a lot of ways. So you can kind of spin up multiple tasks at once. And then another thing we've kind of found is background agents work pretty well for writing tests, but sometimes the tests aren't that useful. So they're kind of testing things or they work around like errors with the tests, and you realize that they wrote a test that doesn't actually do anything. So they are useful, but you still have, like anything else, you have to monitor them and you have to make sure that you understand what they're testing for, and that's actually because just because you have 1,000 tests, if the tests aren't actually good, they don't provide a lot of value. So in Cursor, Cursor rules, I think probably people that use Cursor know that can obviously help, especially for style consistency. And we commit our Claude file as well to our repo, so it's shared across the team, so people that are using Claude Code can benefit from it. So I don't think those are revolutionary, but just things that we found that help us. And then just a little bit about Mastra. We're an open source AI agent framework for TypeScript. It comes with agents with tools, memory tracing, workflows for human in the loop, and it has a very simple API. There's we have agent networks for building more complex multi-agent systems. We have an eval framework for tracking and measuring your output of AI, storage for RAG, and all kind of bundled up in a local development playground. But let's just go ahead and start building something. So I think that's what everyone came here for, like, right? Let's try to learn together.
No,
So
they
give me a
came here to
second.
see us, dude. They came here to see
Yeah,
us.
like they came
That's
here to
fine.
they came here to learn. All
Let's
right.
like also let's talk about like before we get into the building, or we can kind of do it in parallel. Um, this whole workshop and idea came from the want to be able to code anywhere. And a couple months ago, I remember Shane and I, when we were in South Dakota, we're just at a bar taking a break from working all day. But you still want to like it's almost like your brain is still at the desk, but your body is like at the bar or something. And you still want to keep working, but you also want to not be at your desk. And back then we were talking like, "Oh man, it'd be so cool to just have this on my phone. We could just keep making moves right here." But then, that wasn't a possibility until much recently. So we actually did the same kind of scenario again using background agents and then seeing if we can do the same kind of like wish. Like, can we go to a bar, use the background agents, and then see if we can get anything done? Spoiler alert, it's not actually that great. And you'll see, like, you're gonna see it. It's not that amazing, like, utopian thing. Um, but it does help, like, get, like, exploration and things done. So we'll kind of, like, look into that too.
Yeah, we were went from doing it in the lesser known SF, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to actual SF in San Francisco a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. And yeah, it's all that's kind of the genesis of how the idea for this came together. So here's this is the repo that we're going to be using today. It's There's nothing to it. It is literally, I'll drop it in the chat. It is literally just a uh Vite project that's empty. But I figured it's a good starting spot because Vite is very, very simple. Um, so and is good question, Rico. So we're it's being live streamed right now, which means immediately following this, it'll be up on YouTube and it'll stay on YouTube. So assuming the live stream is actually working, which I'll just double check quick. Seems like it is. So yes, it is getting recorded to our YouTube channel. Um, but yes, let's so that's the repo we're going to use. And I figured what we could do is we'd come up with some kind of scenario or something we want to build. We could try it in a couple different background agent services, and then we'll have it create PRs, or we'll look at the PRs, and then we'll just kind of compare. Like how did Codex do? How did Claude Code do? How did Cursor Background Agent do for what? Maybe we'll start with a simple task that we know it should do right, and then we'll have it try to implement something that's a little bit more far out there. And obviously, we'll ask questions and we'll discuss along the way because when you kick these things off, it does take a little while, right? So maybe we should first step is we should figure out what we're going to try to do and then kick something off. So if anyone has ideas of something they would like to do with a blank, empty Vite project of what we could build, it has React, some kind of app. We could build some kind of game. We could build really anything. Okay, Brad has a good option. Grabs articles and summarizes them. Anything else? Let's start with something simple, because a basic snake game. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I can.
Should we try that? Just see how it does. Send off a bunch of tasks to build me a basic snake game and see what it, because we can do multiple PRs, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let me share my screen here. And why don't we'll kick it off in Codex first, because that's what I have opened. All right. So we have this repo here. And for those of you that don't have or have not used Codex, it's just part of ChatGPT, shows up in the sidebar. You create these different environments and you can give it basically what you want it to do when basically spins up a sandbox for you for every task. You can actually have it, and this I think is new. Like I haven't seen this before. I've never used it. You can actually have it look like it'll create multiple versions of it. So you can compare and contrast against each other. Select what branch. Um, and let's just go ahead and start with a really simple prompt and we'll just see what it does. I have a default Vite project. I always say please when I'm talking to agents. I don't know why.
You gotta be
I'm
polite right now,
I'm very polite
just
to
in
my
case.
agents. Any specifics about the game that we want? Please ensure it has a score and gets harder as the game progresses. Any more details we should add?
Make the snake green.
Make the snake green. I mean, I would typically structure this in a different way. I like to, kind of break up. I would probably break up in like requirements section, and typically the more details you give it, the better luck I've had. But for these things that I like, I don't know exactly how I would implement this, so I think we just kind of let it decide and let it do its thing without as much structure. This is what I would consider
Let's.
it. Good.
Oh no, it's that dark mode theme. Oh, let's have a toggle for it. Uh, Light and dark mode.
Okay. So there's the prompt. I'm gonna send that in the chat because Abby, maybe next we should try to kick the same thing off. If you clone this, we should do it in Cursor background agents and see what happens.
Will do. I'll do that right now.
All right, so I'm gonna kick this thing off. We'll see. I haven't actually tested this environment, so hopefully it actually builds, but it's working on the task. Meanwhile, we can also do the same thing in, give me 1 second. We could kick off the same thing in Claude Code, because why not? The thing with Claude Code is it's not truly, in my opinion, like the same as a background agent because it's going to, um, yeah, it's going to actually like, ask me questions along the way. It'll make me confirm things. Jeremy, so possibly, my guess is it's going to probably just make a sprite, like it'll create some kind of SVG, but you can give background tasks. I didn't. You can give it your environments in Codex access to the internet, so you could have it go out and give it internet access. I don't have internet access turned on for this project. Yeah, it would be cool if there was like an MCP to like some kind of SVG or animation library that you could use. All right, so let's stop share and I'll share. We can try it in Claude Code here as well. Kick that off. Okay, so we can just go Claude. Let's run it here. Yes, I trust the files.
Claude Code is the future, y'all. Say
And
goodbye to your IDEs.
let's run a init. So I will say I use Claude Code on the CLI, but I also use it within the plugin within Cursor. And then sometimes I'll use Cursor agent depending on the type of task. If I want it to be, if it's something quick, sometimes I'll just ask Cursor. If it's something that I want it to kind of go for a while, I'll usually use Claude Code plugin within Cursor. So that's my style. I don't know if it's right, but it kind of works for me. Yeah, that's actually a good point. You got to be careful with Claude Code.
Yeah.
So that actually reminds you got to be careful with all this stuff in general because one of their team members this week, if you follow us on X, you'd probably see who, uh, in 3 days spent. We were running benchmarks, so it is a more expensive operation, but spent $8,000 in OpenAI credits in 3 days. So you gotta be careful. Put in limits and make sure you know what you're what you're spending tokens on.
Yeah, unfortunately with these, like with Codex and Claude Code, you're talking directly to the company selling you the tokens. So there's no limits. I mean, there are limits, but like they don't want you to have limits. They want you to keep spending as much as you can.
Yeah, use the tokens. Okay, so Claude Code is running. It's just building this, you know, Claude MD file. It should be pretty simple. Sure. I usually default to yes. Is my
You should
go-to.
just YOLO yes it, dude.
Yeah, normally I do.
While this is going, should I share cursor so we have all three in process?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. I'll let you take it and then I'll wait here.
Okay, so I went to cursor. So I'm going to show cursor through the browser because that's the dream. If I'm in my IDE, then I'm not really doing this right, in my opinion. So you can go and you can do this. Cursor has like a progressive web app or whatever. They also have browser, uh, mobile web. So technically, when we were at the bar doing this, was on the phone, but it's the same UI here. I have the Vite project. Let me just do this and paste it in. Same kind of deal as the other providers. And then it just opens up the view here. And on mobile web, it's actually not that bad, actually. You can actually look at the logs pretty well. Like, I guess we could actually just make this smaller here. It's not too bad. It's not necessarily meant for this screen size, but yeah. Okay, we'll check back in. I'll give it back to you.
All right. So I kicked off Claude Code. It has to-dos. I'll share the to-dos and then we'll go back to Codex because Codex is done. All right, so it's creating a snake game with game logic, implement score tracking and difficulty progression, add dark mode theme, style the game, update the app component to include the game. So Claude, if you haven't used Claude Code, it's going to ask me questions along the way. So again, it's not truly uh, background. There might, if anyone knows, is there a way to actually just like say YOLO, do everything? There probably is. I've never used it for Claude Code, but that probably exists. Um, Yeah, Jeremy, that's cool. Yeah, you got like th three things going at once. Blocks org, okay. I'm not familiar with that. All right, so we got Claude codes running. Let's also now look at Codex, and it has, all right, so it enabled dark mode by default, implemented dark mode toggle, created the snake game component that handles food placement, scoring speed increases, and movement logic, introduced CSS variables and theme handling. It ran lint and build, and here's our PR. So it removed a lot of CSS, okay? Added dark theme tag to the body element. There's a snake game component that we're gonna see. Uses some React state, trying to handle dark and light mode with a button. Snake game, CSS. There's the file. It's pretty simple. Do you think this actually works? I don't think this
Does it
actually works.
run, dude?
This thing does
Let's
not
open the
run. That
PR.
I would be shocked, but I mean, if this is all it takes, maybe I mean, there's some collision detection, there's some keyboard handling. All right, let's create a PR.
But did it even use Vite? There's no scripts. I think it just made a HTML
He just made it in React.
thing.
It looks like it just React, like, yeah, it's just
Or
JavaScript.
is or is the maybe the Vite config's already there actually?
Yeah, the V config's already there, but I think it's just using like just some basic client-side
Yeah.
JavaScript.
I feel like Codex took a long time because my cursor agent's already done.
Yeah, but we kind of moved away. So
That's
my
true.
my theory is like I kind of like the like Codex was the first one that I used. I do like the UI and like the flow of it. I think OpenAI is kind of, pretty good at product, to be honest. So I think that's why it feels nice. But I do think that in general, like the Claude models are, in my opinion, a little bit better at writing code. So we have this PR. I'm going to go ahead and I will pull this down locally and I'll get it running. I don't know if you want to show Abby where you're at. If anyone else is, if you can all follow along at home.
We have a snake game. 7 files. Okay, cool. I think the most important thing is if it works or not. So I'll try that out as well. Let me get on this branch here, and I will. Now, background agents aren't that great for UI things because, like, you can't necessarily execute the code in the coding agent itself, not like Lovable or V0
Yeah. So
for
now
front end
now
things.
Now the alternative to that though is if you do hook up an automated PR like deployment platform like a Vercel or a
Hmm.
Netlify or something like that, the nice thing is you can have it create a PR. It will then create that preview environment, so you can kind of have that UI loop. Um, I, this is probably if I were to actually want to build a snake game, I probably wouldn't do it in this way, right? I would go to Lovable or Replit or Bolt.new and it would do it or V0 and it would probably do it a much better from the beginning, right? It's just because it gives you that kind of integrated experience. But I think we all like can kind of see that for more complex tasks, those things often break down, and that's where you'd want to actually have access to the code, running it locally, or potentially having the ability to easily pull it down and run it. But yeah, so John, for the web-based workflow,
Oh,
that's where like Lovable or V0, Replit, those things come in.
yo, look at my snake game, dude. Dark mode. Does this work? Oh, it works. That's
All
crazy.
right, we're gonna see once this other one and see how it runs.
Oh, snap. Mine works. The snake is green.
All right.
Dude, I hate this game. Oh,
Dude,
okay, anyway.
this reminds me of my first cell phone. It's the only game it had. Dating
Let's
myself
see
a
how
bit.
yours did.
All right. Oh, I got to figure out if Claude Code's done. Well,
What
I
if
got
Claude
that.
Code spent like $50 to build a snake game?
Yeah, Claude Code's in lint checking. I'll share my screen. So I don't want to check out this other branch while Claude Code's still working. I should have used a
Work
work tree,
tree.
I guess. But we'll let Claude Code finish up here. It's
Let's find out how much mine cost. I wish they told you that.
yeah. Yeah, that's the feature they don't want to tell you is what it costs per task. So then you can evaluate. It's like that. Then
I
you're
want to
gonna have
see.
background. Then you're gonna post a tag. There's gonna be someone. So hey, someone can steal this idea. There's gonna be somebody that will create, uh, like wrapper around all these background agents, and you put your task in, and then the different background agents will bid on the task, and then you can buy and execute this different.
Oh, snap, dude. Okay. I know how much I spent on that. I don't know the money, but I know how much tokens. Okay, you ready for this? Let me just count this up real quick, do some little math here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Holy crap. Almost 200K tokens, according to my cursor events.
My Claude Code's at about 6,000 tokens right now, and
Dude, that's crazy.
but maybe that I don't know if that's each time I click yes, it seems to start counting again. So I don't actually know. I'd have to look. They
That
don't they
one
don't
time
make that
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, so they don't make that actually that easy to find. They don't want you to know.
Yeah. I mean, the token count is fine. This is not that big. It's just crazy how it's not really front and center. You have to go, like, I had to go find it in the usage panel and stuff like that.
All right, Claude Code's almost done. So then we're on the Claude Code
Yo, why
version.
is
And
this still going though? Like, I'm already done.
yeah, I know. And now it's running, it's like timing out and
Oh my
it's
God.
it's it's in its loop. It's asking me a lot of questions. Some of it's on me. I've been talking, haven't been saying yes. I didn't do it in YOLO mode. All right, it says it's now running. Let's test it. It's not actually running. Let's try again. All right. I have a game. Let's see it. Here we go.
Hey, it looks the same as mine.
Yeah, it's like basically the same thing. But
Great.
I do have this weird, you see my browser shifting? There's some bugs,
Yeah.
but it works. All right.
Try the
So
light mode out.
yeah, it works.
Okay. Dude,
But
this is
it
great.
does look almost the same.
Looks
I will
pretty good.
yeah, I'll commit this, PR it, then I'll pull down the codex one.
So this is where let's do the codex one, and then we're gonna introduce like multiple tasks on the snake game, and we'll expand it even more. It'll be crazy. I'm gonna merge my first PR into main in my main because I'm cool with the base. There's this dude on Twitter. Anytime a new Grok release comes out, he builds like a video game like Diablo or like whatever. And I really think he's lying when he says like oh, I just prompt engineered this with Grok. Like I feel like you have to know a little bit about game design and stuff, like for him to like do all that stuff. One does
All
not
right.
simply learn Three.js.
All right. So let's just see here. We're implement basic snake. All right. So one interesting thing, OpenAI Codex only created 6 files. There's quite a bit of difference. And I guess I can see, kind of the how much it changed. Claude wrote a lot more code. I mean, part of it's a Claude MD file. but we can see it does have its own snake game CSS. It has its own snake game component that is quite a bit longer. Adds a theme toggle. So just there's quite a bit more code. So I'm kind of expecting that this either the codex one was much more efficient or it's probably not going to have as many features, would be my guess, but we'll test it. So I'll pull this thing down and we will
The
we'll run
battle
it.
of the coding agents.
Okay.
What if it's the same as mine?
It's
That'd be
not.
crazy.
All right. So,
Oh wow, it looks like shit
and
comparatively.
it has the same kind of like error, but we'll see if it actually works. Does work. OpenAI is much worse at design than I'm assuming. I'm almost positive that your uh, cursor agent was using Claude under the hood, right?
Yeah, of course. No,
And
I have it set up as Sonnet 4.
when it stops, it just restarts. So, and dark mode doesn't work. So if you just go from just the same prompt one-shotting Codex, you kind of let us down here.
Damn, that's trash.
So there you go.
Let's expand the games now. Let's do three tasks. So can I get three tasks from the audience, please?
Yeah, let's kick off a bunch of things. Yeah, Abby, you wanna do it on cursor?
Yeah, we'll
We're
do
we're
it on
gonna
cursor to start.
so, so I mean, so far, if we were to validate these, I think in this specific task, I think that's kind of important. This is kind of a known task. It's relatively simple, but cursor agents, in my opinion, have outperformed all the other ones because you didn't have to answer so many questions. Maybe use a few more tokens, but okay, there's an idea. Make bombs that you'll lose if you touch it. So like obstacles.
Make Let's add some more features to the game. I want bombs on the map. That is
Oh,
this.
that's good. And then Brad has an idea, add a power up that is like a maybe like a bomb diffuser or something that like if you
Cool.
all the bombs go away if you get it.
So I'm just gonna put, yeah, I'll do that next. Prompt one is in the Zoom chat. So I'm gonna kick this one off. Also, this is a terrible highlighting color, so they should probably change that. Just saying. All right, what's the next one? The power up.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and merge the Claude Code version for my game. The the Codex one, as much as I wanted it to be better, kind of let me down.
How many seconds should it be invincible? 5 seconds? Make the
And we'll
power up
we will try
pink.
to wrap this thing up. Let's try to kick these off and then we'll open it up for questions or if anyone wants to share things that are working for them. I think that would be after we get these tasks kicked off.
All right. Let me just get these into the chat.
I'm gonna spin up some work trees over here.
All right, let's just inspect this thing. As you can see, it's just a typical coding agent UI. Once the code starts changing and being added, it'll be reflected on the left. There it is. Bomb spawn interval. I like where this is going already. You can see the diffs and stuff. Thing is, if you're on your phone and stuff, like you can look at the diffs after. I just like let it run, keep doing your thing. And what I'll do is I'll stop sharing because now we have three features on the run. Accidentally create Bomberman. Dude, why not? I'm gonna add another task for that. We'll just see where it goes. We'll publish the snake game at the end on GitHub.
All right, so I'll share my screen real quick just to get everyone. So I created a work tree here, just called add bombs. So I should be able to, again, I don't really use this that much, but Tyler on our team says it works, so we're gonna try it. So I'm gonna try to run the first prompt here. Yes. And I'm gonna run that. And I will open up a new window here and do a get work tree. And this one will be, what was the second one? Power up. Oops, I gotta do work tree add. It's not a valid. Oh, wrong order here. Okay. And then I can run the second prompt. All right, so I'll just run those two. But you can see I kicked off these two tasks. I probably have questions to answer. I don't yet, but I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. And the one nice thing about Claude is you kick off a bunch of tasks and you can kind of interrupt it because it does ask questions along the way. So it's not fully autonomous. So there's like a little bit level of, you can kind of check its work a little bit more as you're going. But if anyone else, if you have anything you want to say, yeah, also like the Slack interfaces. That's actually a good comment. There's Slack interfaces for some of these things. Or Slack apps for some of these things. So Kepler, that's a long story. Kepler is a long story. Previously, Abby and Sam and I were all the co-founders of Mastra. This all started, we were building a CRM. And we realized as we were trying to build like an agentic AI powered CRM, none of the tools for building AI in the JavaScript and TypeScript ecosystem were very good in our opinion. And so we realized that we should be building the tools because the tools weren't there yet. So that's kind of how we got to Mastra. But Kepler was the name of the CRM. And anyone else have anything they want to okay, email. Okay, so Brad, you're emailing agents. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Kepler's kind of yeah. Kepler was the inspiration for Mastra for sure. It's how we realized that this is a big problem, or at least we thought it was a problem.
Yeah, it was a terrible product, dude. Just kidding, it was fine.
Yeah, it was well designed. It just we didn't really work the way we intended it to. But also like all the AI stuff we wanted to build wouldn't have been that good at that time.
No. If
Maybe
we had
now,
Mastra, it would have been good.
yeah, now we can do it so much better. But I guess that's kind of the point. All right. Any Master doesn't necessarily mean anything in particular. It was kind of based around the name like Maestro, like you're kind of composing something. Also around like it's kind of sounds space themey, which we kind of liked, which is kind of like remnants of Kepler as the original word. And it also like had to have like the NPM packages available and the GitHub organization available. So there's like a lot of check marks we went through a bunch of different names.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my Claude Code task failed.
All right.
Failed to allocate resources.
Cursor, you mean? Your
Yeah,
cursor
sorry, I
task?
meant cursor. Yeah. What the fuck, man? How do I? And you can't restart it. What am I supposed to do? Have to do the prompt all over again, like a chump? God, God.
Does anyone else have anything they want to share? Things that they've been working on, things, tips or tricks that that have worked for them as they've been u utilizing background agents to help them write code? Tushar, when you say end-to-end example of the agent, are you talking about the end-to-end example of like what we're building now, or like of an agent in general? We have a whole bunch of examples, and now we have templates on the. If you go to the Mastra website, we have templates if you want to see some getting started. Yeah, we just actually just released it. We haven't really announced it yet. But to solve that problem, if you want to see some examples, this is a good place to go. So Klein on VS Code cursor, and then you just auto accept and use Vision to check the UI. Okay, that's cool, Jeremy. Need more details on that.
One tip I've been using lately with the background agents is it's kind of un unintuitive, but I'll go into cursor first, and this is using background agents for code that you've already written and you're trying to expand. But you can open up first you open up cursor or whatever you're using that can reason about your code. Then you ask it to create a cursor prompt for doing XYZ, whatever you're trying to do. And then it'll generate like a task list. And then you can do like a bunch of those, copy them, and then you put them into your background agents. And then now, like at least you know how we just did some shitty prompts. Now you're getting like a an AI generated prompt for the task that you're trying to do. And you put it in the
Yep.
background agent, and then technically it's gone a little bit better. I wouldn't say it's perfect, right? But I still had to edit
Yeah.
things, but it did a lot of work for me
But the nice thing
in
is you
a
don't have to,
code base, you
you
know.
don't. Yeah, the nice thing is you don't have to write the necessarily all the details. It'll come up with the details. It'll imagine some of
Hmm.
them. You'll correct it, but
Yeah,
it'll a lot of times like seeing the more detailed prompt will make you think about things of like how you'd implement this task that you just might not think of. It kind of solves the blank page problem, right? Like give
yeah,
me like if we said like give me a detailed plan of building a snake game, and then it gave us the detailed plan, we could then edit the plan and then send it off. Or maybe we
yeah,
decide to break it up into multiple tasks because it's
yeah.
so it's-
And that might allow you to one-shot things better for sure.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
I
it's really hard to one-shot things though, for real.
here's a maybe another question that this one is maybe up for discussion because I've heard people go both ways. Do you think you've had better luck with background agents in more of a large monorepo, or smaller, more dedicated repos? The benefit of the large monorepo is it has all the context. It can see the end to end. But the negative is if it's the larger it is, the harder it is for it to find the context. So you can make an argument for a small dedicated repo could be more scoped task as long as you are able to come up with a contract of how it should work. So I'm curious what everyone thinks about that. Have you had better luck with larger monorepos or smaller, more scoped GitHub repos?
I've only used it in monorepos, which I should check the other way because sometimes it does things it shouldn't because of the access to all the code. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have tried it with an example, like there's a front end with one front end repo and then like a Mastra back end repo. The problem I ran into is I had to like bounce tasks and back and forth between the two repos because I had to basically think of the contract of like what do I want the front end to do, what do I want the back end to do. So there was more work on my end where, and especially with that small of a project, a mono repo would have been better. But it did work relatively well because it was, each repo was pretty well scoped. So the tasks, it actually, as long as I had the contract right in my head of how the front end talks to the back end, it did a pretty reasonable job on those tasks where, and this was using Codex, and you saw how Codex compared to some of the other ones maybe. But I actually had some mergeable PRs from that.
Yeah, you really have to prompt it well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like the name of the game. Looks like we have some more questions. Are you gonna do more workshops? Yeah, we do them every Thursday.
Yeah,
They're usually
we'll have
Mastra
one.
related.
Yeah, yeah. This one's kind of different, but we thought it'd be fun. We wanted to try something new. We will be having oh, I don't remember what it is. I'll be putting it up later today. We have a list of like the upcoming workshops, so we'll be releasing another one later this afternoon.
Next one. Are you using background agents to add features to Mastra? Maybe like getting a first version. I have a to open ticket about token total usage would be quite feasible for such an agent. Yeah, we use any tool that can help us. We don't
Yeah,
necessarily keep the code that the background agent generates, but we use it for inspiration for sure.
yeah. For scoped tasks, like you can, if you want to snoop in the mono repo, you can see that I definitely committed some or PR'd some code that Claude Code wrote before I fully reviewed everything, and then I was reviewing it in GitHub and I'm like, oh, that was wrong. Like, I got to fix that. So, yes, sometimes we will of course use all the tools, but then the thing that we say is like as the engineer, you're responsible for the code that you're PRing though. So you better make sure that it's right in the way you'd want it to be. So that is the challenge, right? As this gets better and better, it gets easier to trust it for certain types of things. And you have to kind of fight against that at least because you can't fully trust it. Uh, we do use like greptile as well to like review PRs. That's pretty helpful as like the first pass. I think I mentioned that. It's kind of like a background agent. We've been testing out this like tool that helps us write tests. Still kind of early stage startup, but it's been kind of helpful from our experience for helping make sure we have better test coverage. I don't know how greptile compares to CodeRabbit. Rico, I have not used CodeRabbit. We're
Yeah,
pretty happy with greptile. Like overall, it's been pretty good, but Abby, any thoughts?
I looked into that. I looked into a bunch of them when we decided, but we had to go with the YC connection and we went with Greptile. Greptile is very expensive, and a lot of these are ex as well because it's per user, per PR. You might be spending thousands of dollars at a project of scale per month on code review. So you should think about that too. If you have open source project, maybe you should think about if you want AI code review on it or not, because there's a bunch of PRs that come in that cost you money. But yeah,
Yep.
we like Reptile. It's cool. The interesting thing though with these AI products is not everybody on the team gets the same benefit from Greptile, which is really weird. Like some of our engineers love Greptile and it always catches all their shit. And some people hate Greptile and none of the comments are worth it and it's just a waste of time, which is weird. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the way they write code. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
It's
know.
like yeah, I think you just described an engineer with an opinion. I think that's
Yeah.
that's probably all of us. We have different opinions on different products and things. Yeah.
But I
Um,
looked at those PRs that they're complaining about and I'm like, yeah, these are not useful comments. But then on some, like some people's it's like, whoa, this actually caught some stuff. So maybe it is a little style versus people having egregious bugs in their code. I don't know.
did you get any of those tasks to finish? Anything we want to show
Dude,
before?
I got one of them because all the other ones broke and it didn't do it properly.
Well, Claude Code's
Uh,
still spinning over here. I've been answering yes questions for a while, but it's getting close, I think. So we can maybe try
let's
one of
try
these
yours.
as a kind of wrap up. We don't really have any kind of big wrap up. If you haven't, a lot of you have been to some of our workshops before. If you haven't give us a star on GitHub, please do that. Please check out the future workshops that we have. Abby Iyer on X. I'm SM Thomas 3. So definitely appreciate you all coming. and hopefully we'll have one or two more features we can show here in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap this thing up. All right, one of
Yeah.
one of them's done. All right, so one of them I had add uh, a power up. So let's just see. This was the power up get work tree branch, which would I think was the second prompt, Abby, that you had.
Hmm.
Maybe I have to collect it to get it. Oh, I'm assuming that's the power up. Let's get it. What happens?
Dude,
Invincible. All right. What is it?
way
Can I run at the
better.
wall? I'm not that invincible. I ran into the wall and it still failed. Maybe if I ran into myself, but okay. It kind of worked. I wonder if there's like a, let's see if I can run into myself. Oh, I didn't get the power up. I'm not very good at Snake.
Mine didn't even, it rendered. No, it didn't even work, honestly. Did not work.
All right, so now I got this other one. I think what this says is, Claude Code is still king, at least for simple Snake games. It
It
is
takes a
kind of
while to
fun.
get started, but then maybe it's better in the long run.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to do comparisons because it's so rare that I think any of us do it, like where we do like straight comparisons of how these things are. And of course, this is one sample, right? Like this is a very trivial sample. How would it actually work with a real complex task? I don't know. It's hard. A lot of this stuff is just like opinions. So I think it's always hard when someone says like, "Oh, cursor agents are the best" or Claude Code is the best. It's because it will how did you determine what best is? Is it based on the way you like to work, or is it actually based on some kind of uh, you know, some kind of like study you did, at least like more reasonable. Like at least this we had like we gave the same tasks to different agents, and we could pretty clearly see that the first one did well with Cursor and with Claude Code, and then the second round Cursor kind of failed a little bit more. Claude Code did a little bit better. Codex was kind of the worst, or at least the it worked, but it was least complete, so it needed more iterations. So I think you kind of learned some things about this stuff. All right, I'm gonna run this other one, and then we'll wrap up. We'll see how the bombs do. All right, so this was the Git work tree on adding bombs to the game.
Oh, now mine has bombs now too. I can show off.
Oh, okay, we got
Hey,
it.
yours actually have bomb emojis? Nice,
Yeah,
dude.
let's see what happens when I hit one. All right. So bombs work. Now I guess if we merge these two together and I had invincible and bombs, what are the odds that it actually I'm gonna PR these quick and we'll see
I
if
doubt it.
if my invincibility can allow me to run through bombs. That is my goal here. Without having to
Okay, I have a bomb. Oh, the bomb just spawned right on me. I think they did we make it add like every second there's like more bombs? Uh-oh, it's like hard mode now. Oh no, look how many bombs are coming. Oh, I died. Okay,
the
anyway.
one way to show everyone that we're not good gamers is
Yeah, we're
building
not
the
good at
game and,
gaming.
and you watch us just fail miserably. Uh Thank you, everyone. I know some of you are all dropping off. I'm gonna try this thing real quick, and we'll see how it all works. But um, I do appreciate everyone that came. Hopefully, you learned something, and hopefully, we'll see you all at a another workshop.
I have invincibility now too. Let me double check that. I guess while we're here.
Yeah, Abby and I are just gonna hang out in this meeting and keep building this game. We had a workshop. We were still working.
Yeah, it's still a workshop.
Yeah. All right. I mean, we are live streaming, so we can just keep live streaming the two of us. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
All right. So I got two. I wonder if there's gonna be any conflicts.
I
let's
just
go
got
ahead.
hella conflicts. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'm just gonna make it work.
All right, I merged my bombs, merging power-ups. Nice thing is like this is all public, so if anyone does want to go to that repo, you can see the um you can see it, see the code we're committing. Conflicts. Let's try to
Trying to get my conflicts
exec
out.
power up. Okay.
So many conflicts. There we go.
Dude, I kind of like get work trees now. I'm gonna start using them.
Yeah, dude, I think they're dope. Oh man, this conflict is too annoying.
I'm just gonna ask Claude to fix my conflicts. All right,
I'm just gonna run it by itself real
we're
quick
gonna
and
let
see
Claude
if
do
it.
its thing.
And my power up branch didn't even work, dude.
I'll share my screen just so people can
Oh
see.
no, the power up is here. Okay, it does work. Okay, that's
All
awesome.
right. So I had this power up PR, which conflicted because I had two get work trees going at the same time. I added bombs. I added power up. Now I just pulled down the code and I'm having a Claude code merge my conflicts. We'll see how it does. Maybe it'll actually fix it too. It is saying it's going to merge both features together. So power ups with invincibility and bombs. So
That'll be cool.
yes, just make the edits, fix things. This is kind of cool to do it a little more. It felt a little more intimate than doing the big like Zoom webinar thing. We used to do
Yeah,
it this way. It's kind of fun, even though no one else really talked, but it was
yeah,
besides the chat. But it was just feels a little bit more intimate to do it this way. Wouldn't probably work with as many people as we get at the other workshops, though.
that's true. We're almost done with my freaking. There were just so many conflicts. That's another bad thing about operating on the same code area.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be there's probably a startup that does this, but I would like a startup that basically tells me how much I'm spending on all these different API keys that I use. Like I'm using like Claude here, I'm using Codex. Like, can I just have you hook into their API and just tell me my spend from each service and roughly what the tasks were? That'd be kind of cool. Because obviously, if
Yeah,
you're
that
using
would be.
multiple, or even honestly, each one individually just got better about they don't really want you to know how much you're spending on each task. But it'd be nice if they did, just to make it very clear of like this task cost you 60 cents or whatever.
I do think Claude Code just takes a lot longer, but maybe the quality
Yeah.
is hidden under the surface or something.
All right, so let's quit this. All right, let's actually run this thing. Oops, I guess. All right. Should we see if this thing works? Moment of truth.
Yep.
No power-ups or bombs yet. Oh,
There
okay,
they
get the
are.
power up. I don't, oh,
Ooh,
there's a
change
bug.
color.
There's a bug though, because it didn't
There's
work.
no more.
There's no more, nothing else I could collect, and I ran into the bomb when I was invincible. At least I think I was still invincible.
I think if
So,
we redid this with very detailed instructions, I think it would be pretty solid.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think if we were very
Yeah.
clear about what we actually wanted, but come on, let me run into it. Yeah. Like if I'm
Yeah.
invincible and I run into a bomb, the bomb should just go away. Honestly, it probably should just like increase my score. But I'm thinking of all these things. Like I could tell Claude to fix this, right? Like this is
Yeah.
fixable.
You could easily spend 4 hours just
Honestly, yeah. Honestly,
doing
I'm gonna
tons of
tell
tasks.
Claude right now to not when I use the up and down arrows, it scrolls the browser window. We need to fix that. See what it does.
So
All
we're
right,
gonna make a
everybody.
professional snake case game.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right. Should we wrap this
All
thing
right.
up?
Yeah. Thanks for
Thank,
coming. For those who are still here.
yeah. Thanks, everybody.